All right. So I literally have been asking what my next message is for like a good 24 hours at least. And I've gotten a lot of information since then, but none of it was what I was supposed to say. Um, so finally, I got something. Um, so there's a reason that not just because I'm lazy, um, but it doesn't matter, I guess, whether I do these videos live or not because I'm not editing. Um, and I don't want to edit for several reasons. Number one being if I know, it helps me to know that if I just have one shot that I have to keep going and kind of stay in the flow of things. So I don't depend on being able to change it. Also, so that you know that I haven't edited any of these messages. Um, I don't know how. Even if I was going to, I'm sure I could figure it out, but I'm not going to. At least not now. So when I first started doing this, and I didn't really know exactly why I was doing it or what exactly I was supposed to be talking about, I didn't get like a projection into the next week or month or anything. Everything is like you'll get it when you get it, and I just know when I have something that's supposed to come out. So when Jesus, this is what I read actually several times when I was like, what am I supposed to say? When Jesus tells his disciples that when you go, into the synagogues or wherever, don't worry about what you're going to say, because you'll be guided as of what to say, because it's not you speaking, it's the Spirit speaking through you. So you're just obedient. That's what it is. Okay, it's time. And yes, I prepare a little bit and I know the gist of what it is, but sometimes I go completely off the wall and like that wasn't even what I had planned. So some of this doesn't make sense to some people, and like anything that is inspired this way, this is how God told me to deal with this very very tangled up situation that I'm in. And it's been really, really tough, but it's been, and a huge test of faith, but it's like, this is the way that I'm supposed to be dealing with it, and, whatever my next step is, what my next step is. But it came out in such a way, I literally have gone back through from the beginning and watched all of the messages from the beginning, and I'm like, wow, it makes perfect sense, which is why I went back through and numbered them. So whether you are the target of this project, I don't want to say target, there are specific people that really need to see these messages. There are other specific people, because sometimes there's just add-on things and it's like a double whammy. And for everyone else, it still is really important. It tells a story from beginning to end, which is why I said, and yes, it does help me, but every word is important. It may not seem super entertaining, maybe like when you go to church and sit through a sermon, sometimes it's hard to get through all of it, and sometimes it doesn't mean anything today, but it might tomorrow. So I definitely recommend going back to the beginning and starting with the first one, and as you have time, watch them all the way through, because it's a whole story, and I don't even know what the end of the story is. I didn't even know that was gonna work out like that, but I'm kind of blown away. because it's not like my mastermind like storm. It has nothing to do with me. I just did what I was told. Yes, I did all of the studying to be able to do it so that I can recall these things from my head so that I don't need to edit. But a lot of it is just as it comes to mind, and sometimes like things get added and I hear them as I go. And you know, I can't explain like why me, or like why now, or like I just go with the flow of it. So it's definitely very cool, very interesting, and I learned so much. I've learned more in the past several months here than just in this studying, you know. And I've always studied, but the comprehension is like unbelievable, you know, things that I didn't understand before. So I definitely recommend it because there's a story that needs to be told. There are secrets, and some will be kept for quite some time. And there are other things that, like, when I get it, like, I can't say it yet, but then eventually it makes sense why I know that and why I can say it when I can. So at least it's fun, kind of. It's hard to keep secrets. It's really hard. But the reason that I did this is basically to demonstrate a better way. And it really, like, I was completely heartbroken, and I've tried, and this has been, you know, so much time, every opportunity, you know, and hoping like the people that were very wrong to me, and some of it was intentional, some of it didn't begin intentional, some of it was pure ignorance, but the point is that it kind of makes sense why God would want to destroy the whole earth with a flood. And that sounds harsh, except that it's kind of the same thing. I know so many people, and I've had interactions with so many people, and the people that have bothered to get to know me, that really know who I am, you know, I don't keep very many people in my inner circle, but the people that do know who I am, and even people that I haven't had a lot of interaction, you know, there are some people that just understand who I am, you know, and it's like you recognize someone that's on the same page as you. And shout out to those people, like, keep up the good work. But you know, I didn't even know how I was gonna say that or why I needed to say it, but I did like have this immense sadness, because it's like everyone has the ability to pray or to look for the truth and to be kind to every person. Everyone has some sense of right and wrong, you know, like you recognize when something doesn't give you a good feeling, you know. Unfortunately, a lot of people learn to just ignore it, or live in a way that they think is better, by, like, you know, getting everything you can and not worrying about other people, and not looking into a situation for what it really is. And the thing is, like, whether it was done out of ignorance, and whatever came to the light after, and then, you know, covering up whatever to protect yourself or protect, you know, other people involved, there are consequences. Whether you get away with it in, you know, the courts of the earth, or things go unnoticed, ultimately nothing goes unnoticed, because life has a way of balancing itself out. And sometimes things are so destructive and so horrible that there's, like, at some point, you know, I mean, I feel like there's nothing I can do beyond what I have done to try to get the attention of these people, to try to get them to hear the real story, to see who I am. And, not one person tried to make it right. Not one person admitted anything wrong. Even though now it's really clear, I believe, to every party involved just how wrong it was. And even like some side issues that like I've been so surprised by people that I was nothing but good to, that I was very loyal to, just because they, like can't mind their own business or for some reason, even though there's never been any indication that I, would have been dishonest. I just feel so betrayed and stabbed in the back and disrespected. And it's disappointing. And like, you have to go through these situations because, before God hands you something bigger to do, something more important, something with a lot more responsibility, you've got to know who you can count on. And sometimes, some periods of your life, that's going to be nobody but God. And sometimes, you've got to be able to weed out, people that have really good intentions and, their faith wasn't strong enough, or they're, not paying attention, because, God's going to show you everything that he wants you to see at the time. And sometimes like he's going to hold back the information you need, even though it was there the whole time, to teach you to pay attention, because it was there the whole time, every word, everything. And I didn't say these things for no reason. It's because I knew that every word that I had to say was important for some reason. I know when to start, I know when to stop. Sometimes it's hard for me to get out, when you get like a picture or a situation in your head, to figure out how I'm gonna express that sometimes takes a minute, and I'm sorry if that's inconvenient, but there's a good reason for all of it, and a lot of that reason is hoping to God nobody has to go to prison or something terrible just because of their, ignorance or selfishness, or assuming that I'm somebody that I'm absolutely not. We really, I think, owe the other people in our lives, that much respect, at least to have a discussion, to find out what the truth is before it has to come to this. Because if you look, it's something like, I don't know how many, 57 or some like videos I've been through. This has been months and months of this after literally 2 years of not getting paid, which is, not only was it a really devastating experience, very damaging. Like, I still need therapy from that. Like, it's hard. It was a really difficult thing to go through, and I don't, if anyone is involved with, caregiving and dealing with dementia, but also physical illness and sickness, and from a person who's also quite abusive, but didn't have anyone else to help. It's not because like I love to get up every day and like scrub everything and empty buckets of urine and cook meals over and over again, and having to protect myself also from becoming infected and things like that. It was a horrible time, but if God gives you something to do, you do it. At least I do, and I know that was the place I was supposed to be in at the time I was supposed to be in. And there wasn't any help, barely any. A couple times somebody else showed up to help. And it was a lot. And the realization that people could be so horrible and go through what they've gone through, and even me having to like be quiet and just observe the whole like shenanigan. Like, yes, it's somewhat comical, like not because I think it's funny, but I'm like, where do people like, do you just have like you have no God? And then that's the truth, is that some people, you know, even like several of these people I know have like grew up in the church and studied these things, and still treated me this way. And even after the truth is revealed, nobody came forward to tell the truth. Not one person. And it's shocking. But sometimes we need to have that information to know what our next steps will be. So that wasn't meant to offend anyone. I do recommend, if you're curious or if you want to get the whole story, to go back to the beginning. I have numbered them, and to watch the story from beginning to end. Some of it does and doesn't have to do, you know, there are kind of layered messages in there, and some of it has to do with just people who can't mind their own business, or just dislike me because you assume that I don't work hard, or that I haven't worked hard. And you know, I have had no privacy for a long time, and it's just unbelievable. Like, I don't want to cry, but it's been unbelievable. So that was the purpose of my last post that I made, is just that, like, it really is heartbreaking, and I didn't want, you know, it wasn't meant for to get attention, or for anyone to, even though still a few people, very few people did actually reach out. I'm fine. That wasn't the point. Like, I have worked through a lot. It's just really sad realizing that like people just don't care. So I love you very much. We all go through hard stuff. I never could have imagined that I would even go through something like this, but I know that I'm not the only one. Like, we have to go through these things to realize that other people are going through things just as hard, and we need to probably be more aware of that. So I love you very much. I didn't want it to be too heavy, but just so that nobody is worried or concerned, I'm fine. I have a whole new perspective and a whole lot of information that I definitely did need to have. And like I said, there's really hardly anything as valuable as knowing who you can trust. Anyway, I love you. Keep trucking. It would do anybody some good, for any person, even if you're not involved. Like, it's pretty cool how, if you watch the whole thing from beginning to end, there's a really good story. And I guess I'm going to keep putting out messages as long as I get the inspiration. I don't know what's next. I am in the process of moving. My boxes should be here Thursday. I'm super excited to get out of here. Getting rid of my stuff has been difficult. So if anybody sees this and you need stuff, I have a lot of stuff that I need to get rid of because I'm not really taking much with me. Like, share, and subscribe, please. It helps me a lot, and may help the people that need to see this to get the messages they need to see before it's too late. Thank you.